Once again, we are back with the Distortion detective reading. I hope all of you have gotten all of your ADHD movements out of you, because I hope... Settle it. Just settle in, because we are more than halfway through the story. I like being able to sit down and read this because one, I don't really read that often. Headache. And I don't know if I'm gonna be doing another reading stream, but like depending on y'all on the full reception of just these streams, who knows? Maybe I might read like some of the Sinners books, like the Kafka ones or any of the other ones. Welcome. Hello, Alpha. Potato God, Verta, Wefimundo. Said you can't make it? Oh, that's fine. I know that you won't be able to watch, but you know what? It's okay. You can just listen. If you have the ability to. Queen of Hatred as well. It's good to see you. Where are we picking up again? We're picking up with Chapter 29, Safe Passage. Chiffon, it's also good to see you as well. We are, as the kids would say nowadays, in the thick of it. Also, I know that I said last couple of streams that we'd try and get the gang back together for another Lethal Company stream, but I don't think that we had the organization for it this time, and I'll be honest, I didn't put any organization into it either. I didn't put much effort. So, my fault, Giggity Gang. We are probably just gonna have to just stick with a reading stream. But I hope that's alright. I enjoy these. I like listening to you read a book I've already read. Well, I'm glad that my voice is enjoyable enough to do that. Because I do just genuinely enjoy it. I know that my reactions aren't necessarily the same as when I'm streaming like games or whatnot, but these are calm streams. It's supposed to be neat, just and chill. Hi, Big Bird. It's good to see you. Now, how about we get back to it with Chapter 29, Safe Passage. The ride is surprisingly comfortable. Vespa was right in that I wouldn't be disappointed in his driving skills. A good vehicle has met an excellent driver. We were quietly driving along the highway leading to L Corp's nest. In the back seat, I opened the envelope Han Hee-jun gave me. It's a brief report on the nest and the Laundry of Dreams. The Distortion is located in the back streets of Nest L, situated in the southern part of the city. The nest is currently covered in a veil of fog due to the fall of Bonamy Corporation. It's the wing. Its nest is doomed to collapse as a result. No wing falls with grace. They leave a permanent scar on the city before crumbling to dust. In the case of this L Corp, that would be the fog. They say everyone loses their way in that fog, and a variety of syndicates and fixers in the nest are drawing their weapons against one another. To think that the Distortion is rampant in this chaos, it will be akin to a battlefield for sure. Queen of Hatred, good to see you as well. Skipping past the tidbits of info on the Misty Nest, I skimmed through the report on the Laundry of Dreams. It was degraded from an urban plague to an urban legend. According to the report, it was initially designated as an urban plague after wiping out an entire office of fixers. But it has since stepped down a grade, as it did not cause any notable events afterwards.
So, what is the task we're supposed to take care of?
Vespa asked from the driver's seat, his eyes facing forward. I was just about to read over that part. An ordinary coin op on the outside. But after you use it, you come out a completely different person? Yuria read the report out from the top of my shoulder. Detective, is this going to be a location-type distortion like the mock exam one? Ezra turned her head and said from the passenger seat. Are you referring to some kind of test? Vespa spoke, his gaze still fixed on the road ahead. Ezra, tell him about the classifications we established while doing our detective work. Got it! Ezra rummaged through her bag for a notebook. It has a yellow cover plastered with stickers, a glaring hallmark of Ezra's possession. She rifles the pages until she puts a finger on a certain page as if she spotted something. Let this senior give yugioh, the protege, and Vespa, the baby bee of the team, a lecture on the distortion. I could see a vein pop out between Vespa's brows right as she said that. Ezra studies his face for a moment, then continues her lesson. It's some high-quality intel organized by Detective Moses and her capable sidekick Ezra, all based on the experience of working as the Distortion Detective. As you all know, our mentor Moses can see the distortion. Distortion is the name given to this phenomenon by the Hana Association. According to the data registered to the association database, it's a phenomenon where two people would suddenly transform and take monstrous shapes. I heard about the phenomenon in relation to the pianist case of District 9. Yep, you two are on the right track. Before I knew it, the drive turned into a little class. However, our mentor and Detective Moses thinks that there's more to the distortion than just people turning into monsters. She sees the distortion as a person's mind bursting forth into something tangible. And the detective can see the distortion before it actually manifests. Mm-hmm. That's how our office can solve cases before the distortion fully manifests. Is it up to Moses to determine whether a case of the distortion has fully manifested? It's Detective Moses, Lil Junior Vespa. Vespa pops another vein on his forehead. Is it up to Detective Moses to determine the severity? Yep, she's classified different types of distortions and the stages of progression. Every distortion has a cause behind it. From that, we connect the dots to explain how that cause was responsible for the person distorting. Next, we give the explanation to the subject in a way that they can accept. If they do, we can resolve the case before the distortion manifests. Can the same be done to the two cases of the distortion that have already manifested? Vespa turns his head towards me and asks. To that, I quietly answered, depends on the progress in the category. I updated my knowledge on the distortion after the recent series of events. I want you to pay attention to this one, Ezra. Yes, Detective. Ezra turned to a new page and picked up a pen. Until recently, I only categorized distortions by type, but I've included severity in my newest classification system. Incubation period, early stage, middle stage, and terminal stage. It's like the staging of a disease, Yugioh made a snarky remark. She's not wrong, however. To me, the distortion is a disease. Most people's distortions are in the incubation period. As you are all aware, I can see the distortion before it manifests. Thus, I decided to title the earliest stage where the distortion becomes visible to me as the incubation period. I'd like to know the severity of the bee's wings you can see from me. In my opinion, your distortion is at an early age. Although I'm speaking from my subjective point of view, from what I can see, distortions in the incubation period are mostly fragmentary. An early stage distortion is still minor, but it assumes a definite form, and I can feel the early symptoms of it. An example is the fact that I can feel the breeze generated by the beats of your wings, Vespa. No one else here would be able to sense it. Only I can see and perceive it. This is what I classify as an early symptom.
If it's something only you can feel, it must have been a pretty useful ability to find and resolve distortions.
I think so too, but sometimes it makes me feel unwanted sensations and pain no one else could feel. The car shook a little. We came off the highway and entered a narrow road toward Elcorp's Nest. A thin veil of mist obscures the view out the window. The time is 1 p.m. Sunlight scatters and shimmers in the mist. We'll listen to the rest of the explanation later. A group of a dozen or two people are blocking the way. Are they fixers or syndicate members that seized hold of this area? I want to avoid unnecessary conflict if possible. Vespa stopped the car. The group approaches us. Knock, knock. One of them raps the car window. Vespa lowered it in response. Going on a little family trip, are ya? A woman puts her arm on the windowsill and asks in a serious manner. She has Irizumi tattooed on her arms. In her other hand is a cigarette. The Irizumi on her arms is no doubt an augmentation tattoo. People carrying katanas at the girdle stand in front of the car, staring at us with their arms crossed. What's your business? What's your business? Vespa inquired, his eyes closed, not even giving a second glance at the woman. Ezra has her hand over the dimensional bag, preparing for combat. Seems we're dealing with a syndicate. You're about to enter Kurokumo clan's territory, you see. You're gonna have to pay a small toll to pass. Ooh, Kurokumo. They're actually my favorite. Like next to Blade Lineage. Those two are like my favorite fucking syndicates. Kurokumo clan. I'm unfamiliar with the name. Anyhow, it's interesting to note how syndicates in the southern side of the city tend to be dressed in composed clothes, unlike those in the north. Detective? Ezra, just give them what they want. We're giving money-hungry scoundrels what they ask for. No matter how high they set the bid, it'll be well within the budget Diaz gave us. How much do you need? Ezra's face puckered as she asked the syndicate member, reluctant to give away our money. Well, bewildered by our generous attitude, the syndicate member looked us up and down. 2 million on. That's a lot of money. Okay. Seems Ezra begrudges our money going to them. However, I don't mind the loss as long as it's the only thing we have to give up. There's no reason to take a gamble against a syndicate with unknown power and affiliation just to save money. Ezra took a bundle of cash out of her bag and started counting it. Changed my mind. 10 million. The goon said with a chuckle, staring down the pile of money must have made them cuckoo. Detective. Give it to them. Ezra passed the 10 million on through the driver's side window. Meanwhile, Vesper remains perfectly still, his eyes shut. I can see that this syndicate has some experience, considering they didn't go as far as demanding every coin from us. Rookies tend to keep raising the stakes until it bites them in the ankle. On the other hand, the more experienced ones assess the opponent's capacity and stop at an acceptable price. All right, be on your way. And cutie, you can have this. Ezra was handed a black plastic plate. It's a pass. That thing should let you freely get to any area through any area under Kurokumo clan's rule. I'm Yuri, one of the vice captains of the Kurokumo clan. You know, I like you gals. Why don't you tell my name whenever you drop by a bar for a drink? I'll pay the tab for you. Now it resolved smoothly. Have a happy, sappy little family trip. Welcome, General Garchomp. Vice Captain Yuri ground her cigarette on the side mirror of our vehicle. Her head was gone in the blink of an eye. Oh, for Vespa! Vespa's fist cleanly removed the Vice Captain's head from her body with a single thrust. He calmly steps out of the car and cleans the cigarette ash off the side mirror. The unexpected event left everyone quiet. Vespa proceeded to grab his Huando from the side of the driver's seat and charge into the group of thugs. Amidst the thin fog, flashes of yellow light shined, followed by spurts of blood. Another moment of silence passed. Vespa returned to the driver's seat. The next time you want to cause a pointless bloodshed, you'll do it over my cold, dead body, I said, placing a hand on my forehead. I'll try not to. Vespa grabbed the wheel and started driving. Oh, that's funny. Bro was holding it all in. He had so much stress built up just from Ezra. Oh, that's funny. That's very funny. Oh, all right. Chapter 30. Chatter. You said you weren't a fan of killing, yet now you've got blood on your blade. I didn't kill them because I wanted to. It was simply retribution for what they had done. And that gives you the right to decide who gets to live or die? There was a mound of severed heads behind them. I suspect those belong to the people who couldn't afford the toll. What a hero you've become. You'll have to follow every order I make if you want to receive Diaz's aid to get your job back. If our mission ends in failure because of your imprudent behavior, Vespa, you'd better forget about returning to M-Corp, because Diaz will sink you to rock bottom and ensure that you spend the rest of your life in misery. I will keep that in mind. Vespa replied as he slowly closed his eyes. Ezra sits next to him, seemingly lost in thought and fiddling with the plate the Vice Captain Yuri gave her. Beneath her feet are bundles of cash that amount to 10 million on, hurriedly collected back from the dead syndicate member. The bills have smidgens of blood on them, but there should be no problem using it. Detective, maybe we can still use this plate? Ezra turned to me and asked, there won't be any problem using it to pass through turf under Kurokuma clan control. Of course. I don't think there's anyone that could figure out who killed Vice Captain Yuri. No, that's not what I meant. Could I get free drinks with this? So that's what she was looking forward to. Where there is alcohol, there is usually snack. It is little wonder why that she's showing interest. Ezra, you can eat anything you want, alcohol or whatever. With the money Diaz gave us, we may very well order food that has never existed before. Vespa's ears twitched slightly. This young man is quite a hearty eater, isn't he? Give me that plate. Okay. The word Kurokumokai is written kanji in the front side of the plate. On the back side is handwriting that appears to be the signature of Vice Captain Yuri. This might be handy later on. So, Detective Moses. If I'm not mistaken, the Laundry of Dreams is a location type similar to my atelier. Yuri asked for my shoulders, as if the commotion didn't happen. It seems Yuri has gotten a lot less talkative since we started heading for L-Corp's nest. Perhaps she has difficulty maintaining the psychement. I should talk with her about that soon. Could you explain what a location type is, Dr. Moses? Vespa showed interest as well. Ezra scowled at Vespa trying to correct him, and Vespa retaliated with a gaze just as fierce. I can almost see sparks flying from the staring contest. Ezra, I don't care how Vespa refers to me, so don't waste your energy pointing it out every single time. But he's the newest and youngest member of our office! Vespa's veins pop on his forehead once again. Don't. Okay, Ezra conceded, and I resumed the conversation. Well, welcome Stealthily, and welcome Red. Good to see both of y'all as well. A location-type distortion is a certain spot being subject to distortion, as the name suggests. But you describe the distortion as a phenomenon that individual humans manifest. Are you saying that a person can transform into a location? Precisely. In most cases, it takes the form of a place or a building that's unable to move on its own. It's akin to a trap to the average person. You should be mindful of the fact that a location-type distortion is not the same thing as a distortion encroaching upon its surroundings. The stronger the distortion is, the more warped the area around it gets. Verta, what do you mean how long is this going to take? Is there an issue on the stream, or it's just a reading stream? Like she said, the distortion can overflow, and a powerful one can influence its surroundings if left uncontrolled. That was the case with the carp, the most recent case of distortion I solved. It was a child who turned into a giant carp. It would generate a pool of depressive water around it. That's because sadness is most commonly distorted into the form of water, Ezra butted in. Yes, melancholy is like water. Perhaps we could talk about categories for such things at a later date. Anyway, a strong distortion can alter the area around it and become a host to subordinate entities. It's easy to confuse it for a location-type distortion. You could publish an encyclopedia of distortions with all that knowledge. What part are we on right now? We are on Chapter 30, Shark Ego. Vespa made a sarcastic yet harmless remark. A book. That's funny. I'd be surprised if there's any library that's willing to collect a book like that. Oh, it's like a reference. It's like a very funny reference. Yeah, detective, that sounds so educational and fun. Just as Ezra spoke, the car was slowly brought to a stop. Dr. Moses, I'll need you to tell me the directions from here on out. It looks like we've fully entered Elcorp's nest. Glimpses of buildings can be seen in the mist. This nest might have shone brightly once, but now it is sunken into fog. This fog feels quite different from the fume that covered the city during the smoke war. Unlike the smoke that rose to the sky, this mist sinks to the floor, like a pool of stagnant water. It's similar to the properties of sorrow we just talked about. Could this be a manifestation of someone's serious melancholy? Regardless, I'm the only one who could find a way in this thick veil of mist. Or rather, the prosthetic arm Diaz gave me will figure out a way for us. I scanned the barcode printed on the report of the Laundry of Dreams as instructed. Urgent legend case, the Laundry of Dreams. Guiding to the most recent observed site. Turn right 30 meters ahead. A voice came out from the arm. A vocal guide in this day and age? Come to think of it, this may be a more effective method than hologram-based navigations in a thick fog such as this. Vespa, follow the instructions of the voice. The car slowly began moving. Then Vespa opened its mouth. The man named Han Hee-jun said our work is to capture the distortion. How are we going to seize a location, if I may ask? We'll shrink it. As I said moments ago, the distortion will expand and warp its surroundings as it becomes more powerful. In other words, its influence will shrink as we neutralize its power. We'll have to weaken it enough to fit it in our hand, or at least the trunk of our van. This van is no ordinary vehicle. The entire cargo department is a massive dimensional bag. Since it was provided by Diaz, it should have no problem carrying absurdly large objects. However, distortions are ultimately people. It's not a good idea to store people in a dimensional bag. I have no choice but to hope that Diaz kept that in mind. And we can load the trunk with distortions anyways. Do we have to go into the so-called location-type distortions ourselves then? Yes. You said they are akin to traps. There's a risk that we will be killed as soon as we set foot in there, is there not? Distortions are not weapons of murder. They normally aren't artificial creations with a specific purpose. What they are is a cry for recognition for their mental afflictions. As you suggested, distortions that harbor a murderous intent may try to kill us. But I can tell if a distortion has such designs. That means our lives lie in the hands of your judgment, Dr. Moses. Of course you should. All we gotta do is trust the detective, Biddy Baby B. Vespa popped a bane once again. Ezra seems to be enjoying it at this point. The conversation halted there. Only the mechanical voice of my arm would break the silence. Yuria is being strangely quiet. When I looked to my left, the red teddy bear was lolling on my shoulder. Her synchronization with the sacrament appears to be unstable, as I suspected. Even if the teddy bear were to stop moving, that wouldn't mean the death of her. Her real body is under the protection of Do Gui office, after all. The teddy bear suddenly flinched. Detective Moses, I see you're having trouble maintaining your psychement right now. Yeah, my consciousness is fading the deeper we get into this nest, and the thicker the mist gets. Rest up for a while. I'll keep the teddy bear with me. Thank you. I'll take a short nap. Have to work like a dog. The teddy bear's voice trailed off as its head was lowered. You've arrived at your destination. A large green neon sign was flashing sporadically before us. The bright neon light turned the fog around it green. Sharkigo coming in with 20 memberships. Holy. Bishop Taylor, Guimot, number 79. The White House, Caron, Joaquin Patire. Keith Nawar. Los Mariachis Jefe Sinclair. Velvela, Night Kasu, Jor 99 Fran, Void, Wolf Kids, Yaru Kanashi, and True Agent Zan, Rome Builder, Plutonics, Very Epic Riot Boy, a name that I cannot read, Potted Plant, David Bard 25. If you're in the stream, if any of y'all are in the stream currently, send a big thank you to Sharkigo. Sharkigo, you generally make me wonder, how do you afford this? How in the hell do you afford this? Thank you. How much you want to bet the library is interfering with Yuri's ego? You know, I think it's I think it might be that because like the library is Angela's distortion. It's either her distortion or her ego. Because like Jesus Christ. It's not just a location that can spawn out of spontaneousness, but it would make sense with all the suffering that she went through as the AI. So, it's possible. Let's see. The library is an ego? Yeah, that would make sense. Where did we stop? The Laundry of Dreams. We're there, Dr. Moses. Alright. Be prepared, everyone. Ezra took her dimensional bag, and Vespa took out his sword and harpoon as soon as we got out of the car. I placed a smoking pipe in my mouth. We walked to the entrance of the laundromat, and I puffed out smoke while I closely observed the exterior building. The tobacco smoke scattered into the air and became one with the fog. Now then, let's retrieve the distortion. As we entered the Laundry of Dreams. Alright. Yeah, as the chapter said, it kind of a just chatter chapter, just a lot of yapping. Lots of yapping. Do you think that Angela can just pick up the giant library and swing it as a bat if she can morph it? I fucking wish. That sounds funny as fuck. Just swing it at the head. Chapter 31. The Laundry of Dreams. The joints of the glass door creaked as we entered the laundromat. A spacey and aged wash area housing 26 front-load washing machines. Faded fluorescent lamps shine over embrowned floor tiles. A few bugs buzz away from near the light, and an old pop song is playing from the speaker on the ceiling. I assume that you deemed that this distortion is not a threat to us, seeing that you walked in the place willingly, Dr. Moses. Vespa spoke, scanning the surroundings with his eyes. Ezra is watching something in front of one of the washing machines. A grade 3 fixer and their colleagues fell victim here. An office was annihilated, and people went missing, right, Detective? Not for long. They are found in another place as different people altogether. What exactly do you mean when you say they were different people altogether? In the most literal sense. Their appearance stayed the same, but inside they were completely dissimilar from before. No one could recognize who they'd become. Detective, over here! I found a washing machine that's running now! Ezra waved me over. The machine rattles, laundry tumbling and spinning inside. I placed my smoking pipe in my mouth. Laundry. Surely it won't be anything ordinary. Though it's hard to see what's inside while it's running. It would be a pretty reckless move to forcibly stop the machine. For now, I'll have to observe the place more. Dr. Moses, I see a storage and utility room there. I puffed out smoke and walked to the door Vesper pointed out. Was this laundromat not a self-service facility? If an owner is present, that would make this a different type of distortion from what I expected. The existence of a room dedicated to collecting laundry suggests that the owner of the laundromat manually cleanses the clothes that the customers entrust them. However, I don't see a cash register or any other sort of station that a staff member would work at. Vespa, open that door, and Ezra, look around a little more. Roger! Upon opening the door to the storage room, a refreshing scent of fabric softener wafted out through the air. The sight that unfolded before our eyes, however, was anything but refreshing. This is a butcher's shop. Human skin is suspended up on hangers. I see how it is. I blew out a puff of tobacco smoke. Peel off a human skin and wash their inside clean. That's what this Laundry of Dreams is. Typical of the city. Proactive procedure like skinning humans alive or some such doesn't come as a surprise anymore. The next question is its purpose. I have to wonder, does the act of washing signify purification, or does it imply change? I have a feeling that the latter is more likely to be the case. There's desire to become someone else and stand amongst the stereotyped city folk. It should be stronger than the desire to get clean, in the very least. In a coin op such as this, the act of washing is as simple as putting clothes in the washing machine and inserting a coin. Looking at the human hide that's hung there, it seems the people who visited this place took off their own skin and left it here. When did it happen? Right after entering the laundromat? After inserting the coin? But wouldn't the laundry have to be inside the machine first? It's still a hazy mystery. If this space was deceiving people's perception, my eyes would have caught the process. I don't see a sign of such illusion yet. I guess I should investigate the washing machines again. Let's go back out. Detective, I can't get the washing machines to work using ordinary coins. Ezra, you dimwit. Who told you to fiddle around with the washing machine? Don't mess with the distortion while I'm not around. Okay, Ezra answered in a dispirited voice. There are several problems when a person who can't see the distortion is involved in cases of the distortion. For instance, they might walk into a gaping mouth full of teeth I can vividly see. Or be enticed into doing something not knowing they're being pulled away by shadowy hands. Thus, it takes a person who can see the various sides of the distortion to aptly handle it. Detective, would it matter if I got a coin from the exchange machine here? I put my hand on my forehead. Ezra is the type to leap into action before putting any thought into it. I gather my thoughts while Ezra acts. To solve a distortion, someone must be a guinea pig. Still, the curiosity and boldness of this child is quite a challenge to handle, even for me. Alright, what are y'all yapping about in chat? Do you think head could beat all abnormalities? Probably, yeah. Yeah, they probably could. In all honesty, like if you send the full force of the head at all the abnormalities, absolutely. Like nothing there, like sure nothing there and Apocalypse Bird and White Knight are both heavy hitters, but I don't know, man. I think it would take a lot. You know, Apocalypse Bird might be actually a good representation of the city now that I think about it. Give that to me. Okay. With a loud noise, the room trembled up and down. The coin slipped from Ezra's hand while she was trying to pass it over to me. Ezra, grab that Before I could finish that sentence, Ezra swiftly moved her palm below the coin. The thing seemed to land on Ezra's hand, but it won't stop falling. It makes a hole in her hand and reaches the floor, as if it has to. The coin rolls around on the floor before it falls down the drain. Ow! Ezra groaned, holding her punctured right hand. Dr. Moses, look behind you. Following Vespa's word, I turned around. Oh, Angela. Yeah, it is a metaphor for the head. That makes sense. Also high, and very epic robot high. Let's see. The door to the storage room. Sharkigo. Another 20 gifted. Friender Channel, Omega Shika, Suit Guy, Nico, Enva Mailer, Giving Grant Gaming, Nizik 12, Flower Sakos, Sinar Frat, Schmubulus, Mateo Lo Monaco, The Bird Gamer, Lava Man 1351 Man, Alex and Dragon's Knights, Totally Lemon, Yellow Wash 510, Trippy Llama Corn, Alex OMG9, and Not Yell. Thoughts on manager of La Mancha Land, Don Quixote. Dude, I cannot fucking wait. I'm actually, funnily enough, I'm gonna be making a fucking video whenever she comes out. There's gonna be like a whole montage. Kind of similar to what Dino Dave used to do with his Limbus PSA stuff. I think that it's fucking goated as shit that we actually get the unit now. Like, this early on, too. I love it. The doors of the storage room had vanished. A loud mechanical noise came at a distance. Yeah, Alex, thanks Sharkigo for that. Sharkigo's the big donator in here. Something's already happening. The coin Ezra acquired couldn't have been dispensed from a vending machine for no reason. A coin exchange machine. Something was traded away for the coin. I held the smoking pipe in my mouth. The space is distorting. Did the ceiling just switch places with the floor? I blew out tobacco smoke. As Vespa noticed, the room is slowly twisting and twirling. Detective, is it just me, or does your body feel icky and stuffy? Ugh. Ezra's body is slowly being filled with filth that resembles viscous blood. For I can see... Another 20 gifted, Sharkigo! You're gonna go bankrupt! Stop! No! Bro just said bang, and then gifted 20. Rock Schlobster, Running Apple PNG, fucking Lamplight, Chill, Simone Prime, Topkeeper Nep, Fat Rabbit, Zane Velson, Cool Dog, Local Lawn Chair, Kurobara, Burger Ham, Rivershoe, Taco Eats, Tree, Thunder Runder, M2X, UV Light, Epic Catman the First, Mohammed Saleh. I believe that's all of them. Oh my goodness. Goodness gracious. Pretty sure like my entire subscriber base at this point is already like they got memberships. If not at least half of them. Goodness gracious. For I can see the distortion. I need quick wits and good sense. I need to be able to tell if what I'm seeing is a sign visible only to me or a manifestation that everyone can perceive. The answer is an experience. An experience tells me that I'm likely the one who can see that filth. Detective, do you remember? I was a coward during the war. I won't be forgiven either, right? This topic again. The memories of that day are one of the subjects commonly brought up when the distortion evokes Ezra's traumas. The memories of Smoke War. They haunt Ezra and I constantly. I've become an expert in dealing with such trauma thanks to that. The memories will be unbearable to her. She will cause some kind of trouble as a result. Gah, away with this dirty body! I heard the sound of something being unzipped. The skin of the human we knew as Ezra was stripped off from her head to her shoulders, knees, then toes. Head, shoulders, knees, and toes. Knees and toes. Goodness gracious. The side of a person that no one wants to see. It could only be described as a form that I can't dare to look at. A heap of desires. I couldn't stand the sight, so I shut my eyes tight. Ezra. Vespa, keep your eyes closed. I bit into the smoking pipe and exhaled a white breath. The room was filled with mist. Vespa's mind could be affected if he sees her current form. I immediately breathed in and let out a violet breath. I wrapped the violet whip around the silhouette that I think is Ezra. And do your best to stand still. I can't hold two people doing idiotic things at once. Understood, Vesper responded. I got the pattern down. Once the human takes off their skin, they'll put it in one of the washing machines. Then they'll head over to the storage room and wear another person's husk, wearing the clean and new clothing. They leave the laundromat as a brand new individual. If Ezra reaches that point, there won't be much I can do. I'll be losing her forever. To avoid that, I stopped her in her tracks somehow. Distortions are solved through contradiction. The deeds that are considered natural and mandatory here must be denied and reversed, making the person wear their contaminated shell back before it could be washed. Such action will weaken the distortion of the laundry of dreams. What can we do to make her put her own skin back on then? Forcefully put it on her? No, she must wear it voluntarily. She has to wear her own shell, knowing that it's still a filthy husk. That's how we can deny this place. This space. Can I not slash it? There's no guarantee that it won't backfire. Destructive measures should be taken as the last resort. That means it's not entirely out of the question. I shall prepare myself in that case. Vespa kept his eyes closed and put his hand on the sheath of his sword. It's a huge relief that he wasn't affected with the distortion's influence. I have no clues about Vespa's past or his trauma. Learning of his past will be a process of trial and error, no doubt. Another... Another 20 gifted from Sharkigo. Are you even real? Dude, are you actually even real? Giant Dad, Leafdo, Vitanoxy, frickin' Galaxia, Trinitu, Cassandrix, Wizbo, Egoistif, Malhunter, Voidren, Gui, Sapoboy, Cedric Smith, Zishan, Unwelcome Observer, Mason Marks, Raven, Shiny Altaria 13, and Dead Empire. Oh my goodness. Holy shit. Oh my goodness. I am... At least be happy he's providing you with food, water, and electricity and insurance. Thought on new shrimp? What do you mean? What do you mean on new shrimp? On the Don Quixote ID? I mean, I just said it. I love it. You know what? Sharkigo probably is DS. Now that I think about it. Probably is. I have no clues about Vespa's past or his trauma. Learning of his past will be a process of trial and error, no doubt. The time will come one day, and it will be unavoidable. I'll have to take my time to know him. That is to say, I know well how to handle Ezra after spending much time with her. Tell me, do you think your current self is filthy? I got too much blood on my hands. I'm dirty. I hate myself. I like you for who you are, even if you think it's unclean. Forthright, without redundancy, I say out exactly what I think of Ezra, straight to her. Really? The answer is easy, but it's always an ordeal for me to speak it out. I really do. Ezra is conscious of others' attention, especially mine. I like that side of hers. All things considered, I can't bring myself to hate her. Ezra is my co-worker and subordinate, and it's my responsibility to take care of her. The mass of flesh that is probably Ezra picks up the smelly, filthy husk and wears it once more. The laundromat stops twirling and bending and gradually returns to how it looked before. Soon afterwards, the space begins to shrink. Vespa, get Ezra and shove the hell out of here. We quickly sprinted towards the door. The cold evening air. Oh, that's loud. I need to turn down the volume. Much better. There's a new species of shrimp found? I did not know that. I have never seen it. But yeah, but I agree with Alpha. More shrimp to eat. I'm gonna make shrimp toast out of them. I've only watched this channel once, I think. Well, welcome, Belva. And welcome, BP Donor. Good to see you as well. Very epic Riot Boy. Also happy to see you here. Come and join the reading. We quickly the cold evening air and moisture of damp drizzle assailed my nostrils. We managed to escape safely. The laundry of dreams was behind us, reduced to the size of a small toy house. Has the case been solved? Vespa asked, carrying Ezra on his shoulders. Quite. Is it always like this? That wasn't nearly as dramatic as I expected. I didn't even have to help. Only because I know who I was dealing with. That's why Ezra and I are working together. I placed my pipe in my mouth. This case was tame and simple compared to other recent events. And staying still was a big enough help. If you were in Ezra's shoes, I might not have been able to do anything. Besides, the distortion is ultimately a human affair. Oftentimes, things are covered up and details are glossed over. That sounds like how human relationships go. I puffed out smoke. He's dead on the nail. This is just like solving relationship issues between people. If I try to ignore the root of the issue and turn away from it, it can be ended on an ambiguous note. In this case, it didn't bother to understand the case or the process of distortion. Nor did I try to make the subject understand it because it's not my business. Because it wasn't necessary. While I'm reading Distortion Detectives, you're reading Xiao Lowell fanfics? That's funny. Alright, where did we stop? I was just taking time to read some chat. Dr. Moses, if our objective was to solve the distortions rather than capture them, would it be possible to revert the laundromat to a human? It should be. The steps will be more complicated than what we just did now. Are you curious? The distortion is also similar to human relationships, and the conclusion gets harder to solve if I try and face it directly and bring it to a definite conclusion. Never mind. If it's something I must know, you will elucidate it at some point. I picked up the Laundry of Dreams and stored it in the trunk. At this size, there's no need to call the yugioh to help retrieve it. Vespa laid Ezra on the back seat of the vehicle. Did you two participate in the smoke war? I don't feel like talking about that at the moment. Understood. Vespa took the driver's seat, and I shook ash off my smoking pipe and sat in the passenger seat. Then I manipulated my prosthetic arm. Sharkigo, that's 80 at this point. That's literally 80. Verta, Beefy Donor, Toast, Felipe, Seal Overlord, Combat Dummy, Hala Devout, Hashisu, Shatterscape, An Unexpected Inquisitor, Apocalypse Bird, Eclipsion, Too Lazy to Name, Erisuru, Ag, Not Life, Trisset, A Ordinary Person, Pavalzul, Gibus. Is that 100? Is that 100? Holy shit. I'm miscounting, Jesus Christ. If each membership is worth 99 cents, you just like spent damn near $100. Goodness gracious. Wait, it's 6? What do you mean? Hold up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's only 5, but Jesus Christ. I mean, that's 5. Holy shit. I'm only seeing 6. Or I'm only seeing 5. I'm only seeing 5. Jesus, but still. Okay, back. Okay. I was about to say, please don't go spending even more money like that you can't. If you can afford it, then I love it. But like, if you can't, then please feed yourself, but thank you. Han Hee-jun. Yes, Doctor. A detestable, sodded voice came out the arm. We've taken care of the Laundry of Dreams. We're moving on to the case of the Human Thunderbolt. Looks like you've solved the case safe and sound. I'm ending the call. Hold on, Doctor. Did you meddle with the Kurokuma clan by any chance? We did. Another 20! Just go ahead, sure. Just go ahead and make it 6. Why not? Why not? Faust, Dumb Frog, I am the bug inside you. Kiev, Erebus Kazlana, Ethan, Ian, Christian Oropel. Tara, speak faster next time. Macari, Metzger. Sbass. Wait, what? Mr. Tired. Kagan. Why did you make... I didn't make you! I didn't make you! Osamu Dazai, kill me already. I want to kill my... Whoa. That's a name. Next Bomber, SPD Kitty, Aldea, Kenempe, you already failed. Gosh. goodness. That's 120 total. Do you got like a brand deal with YouTube or something? That's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking that this this bro has $5 more billion. Feed your cat now. Holy shite. Somehow he found it out. He sure is a competent informant. And he's most certainly going to give me a chewing out for this. The Kurokuma clan is a Thumb subsidiary. I suggest avoiding conflict with a finger if you wish to complete the mission in... As if I'm some kid he needs nagging. Beep, beep. The Thumb is decent compared to the Index. At least I won't be talking to a wall. Dr. Moses. Are you scared that we might have to face a finger? If we ever happen to confront the Thumb, please let me lend my strength. This child has his stories, I see. That's up to me to decide depending on the situation. Vespa seemed to think for a moment with his eyes closed. Alright. The car slowly trudged through the mist. So he has backstory with the Thumb. That's crazy. Okay. Okay. I actually cannot wait to see this. Interesting. Interesting. No, Alpha, it's not $72,000. Some part, like, how much money have you spent on me? Like, goodness. I think in total, it's probably up to, like, like, past $1,000. It's probably past $1,000. Goodness. Chapter 32. The Human Thunderbolt. The difference in scenery between night and day is small here, but I can tell from the gradually shrinking halo of the light in the foggy sky that it's evening. We seem to be approaching our destination. The car shakes pretty badly, running over some form of object scattered on the road. They're likely corpses. On the way, I read one of the case reports Hanhi Jun gave me. The Human Thunderbolt. Graded Urban Plague. It says bolts of lightning will thrash about in the mist when it's present. The Human Thunderbolt leaves completely charred bodies in its wake, emitting a burning smell. Lightning is an electrical phenomenon. Thus, it's related to hysteria or neurosis. Sparks fly off and conduct electricity, leaving sharp and tingling wounds on anyone that stands around it. It'll be fast and painful. Dr. Moses, someone is after us, Vespa spoke. I see dark figures running alongside the car through the window. This vehicle most certainly isn't moving at a slow speed. Detective, they pulled out a knife! Ezra shouted. We will suffer a considerable setback if we lose this car. Diaz gave us his van, so it won't break easily. However, we don't know what the unidentified group is capable of. We have to make a careful choice here. Vespa, can you give them the slip without damaging the car? It won't be an easy feat, I'm afraid. Then we'll stop it right away. The car alerts to a sudden halt, creating a loud noise. The group surrounded the van in an instant. Is it another syndicate like the Kurokuma clan? Whatever they are, they probably won't stand a chance against Ezra and Vespa. And we're less hesitant to get violent after spilling blood here once. Big Bird killed 2 employees. Bro. We're probably gonna have to turn you into the authorities at this point. You're coming with me. Jesus. That's not a good justifiable reason to do that to people. Why did you do that? Why did you do that? Don't do it again. This is different from the Kurokuma clan situation. Now we're in the middle of Elcorp's nest, where there are many variables. We have to promptly prepare ourselves for battle. As soon as I got out of the car, a burning stench struck my nose. Might be the supposed trace of the human thunderbolt, according to the report. Another particular scent stung my nose. It's the acidic smell of tobacco. The smell. Those in the know are familiar with it. Vespa drew his wando right away. Ezra slipped on Alice Workshop gauntlets and cracked her knuckles. The figures in the mist revealed themselves. The smiling faces. They're wearing masks of the Hahoi village. The syndicate is characterized by their steel masks grinning from ear to ear. They smoke performance-enhancing narcotics from their gigantic pipes they're carrying. We've run into an Ermine Nightmare-class syndicate while trying to solve an urban plague case. It's not an unlikely occasion. The syndicate started out in the east of the city, but their influence has grown over time, and now they're all over. Are you here to eat us? I placed my pipe in my mouth. They can be conversed with at the very least. A moment of silence passed. Detective? Why won't those chatty guys speak at all? Keeping her eyes to the front, Ezra asked me in this tiny voice. I'm wondering the same thing. They're strangely quiet for how talkative they usually are. There seems to be about 7 of them. It's not a small number. The smiling faces quietly bite their giant smoking pipes, inhaling and exhaling smoke. I blew out smoke as well. Their movement is different. They're known for their uncanny ways of acting, but something is particularly odd about this group. They twitch their bodies as if they're wooden puppets. There are faint sparks of electricity flowing through them. They're coming, Vespa said, puffing out smoke in the mist. The smiling faces commenced running to us. Their massive smoking pipes double as blunt weapons. It also contains a hidden blade sheathed in the bowl of the pipe, sort of like a sword stick. Ezra faced 2 of them charging at us. One of them swung a smoking pipe in a large arc. She struck the bowl of the pipe with her fist, made a small dent in the pipe, throwing the attacker off balance. Ow, detective! My fist hurts so bad! Whining, she accelerated her other hand with the Alice Workshop gauntlet and struck her fist into the chest. The blow sent the opponent flying into a wall. Oh yeah, it's these people. Yeah, I remember these guys. Smoke, I fucking hate it. Well, I love it, but... The other one swung a blade at its arm. I let out a purple breath to slow the blade down. Ezra took out a Nestor hammer in the meantime and hit the aggressor on the forehead. Clang! The metallic objects rang as they clashed. The hammer got crumpled from the impact. The mask, on the other hand, is intact. Vespa takes the rest of them onto the other side. Yellow traces dance in the air like lightning bugs. Just then, Vespa turned to us and pitched the harpoon he'd been carrying at his waist without hesitation. The harpoon tore through the air and hit the left shoulder of the smiling face standing before Ezra, making them drop their weapon. Ezra immediately took out her Stigma Workshop blade and stabbed it into her opponent. The Stigma blade makes a sizzling sound in their chest. Paying no attention to the piercing injury, the opponent hit her lower jaw with a knee. Those bizarre gestures. The smiling faces are being controlled by something, and their human thunderbolt has to be the culprit, judging from the purple electric discharges flowing through their bodies. Ezra and Vespa aren't overwhelmed by the smiling faces, but they can't seem to gain the upper hand on them. I drew out a deep breath. Seeing how strong and agile they are, the violet whip I usually wield won't even reach them. let alone keep them in place. I let out a deep violet breath. The pipe morphed into thick chains. Ezra, throw that harpoon at me. I pulled the harpoon from the smiling face's shoulder. In that brief moment of vulnerability, one of the smiling faces smacked her in the cheek with a smoking pipe. Pow! Ezra's head was knocked upward, but she managed to stay upright and toss the harpoon. It buzzed in the air before landing at my feet. I tied the violent chain around the tip of the harpoon. Vespa! Vespa recalled the harpoon right on cue. It was then flung with a roar and nailed one of the smiling faces straight away. As the harpoon was lodged into them, the chains coiled around their body. Their movement is restrained, much like a ship with its anchor dropped. The harder they struggle to break free, the harder the chains tighten. The squeezing pain around my brain grows worse too. The pain is killing me. My head swims and my mind wavers. However, the chains will disappear if I let go of my consciousness. Ezra didn't miss this chance. She threw a low kick at the hindered target. The attack broke their leg, bringing them down to their knees. Then the manifested psychomet on her other leg delivered a kick straight to her head. The cranium was smashed along with the mask. Vespa speedily retrieved the harpoon and hurled it at another one. Vespa earns time with the harpoon, and Ezra lands the finishing blow. At a stable pace, the smiling faces are defeated one after another. Before long, Vespa took the head off the last of them. Whew! We somehow made it out alive, Detective. I nodded, putting my pounding head in my hands. Dr. Moses, these were not like the ones I knew. Something seemed to be manipulating them. I walked to one of the decapitated heads of the smiling faces on the ground and removed the mask. A grinning face burnt on a burnt head was all there was underneath it. Light flashed from the far. A crack of thunder followed it shortly afterward. Suddenly, a stroke of light zipped past us. The light burned the fog in its path. It cleared off mist within a radius of 10 meters. Oh, music's quiet. There we go. You can probably hear it now. Just don't ever say Smegma Workshop or Sigma Workshop ever again. I will end you. I don't care if you're the Sharky Goat. I will end you. Ezra isn't surprised at the sight of the bodies, but rather what they're doing. Every burnt corpse began to move at the same time, twitching and twisting. Could it be moving the bodies through electric stimuli? There's corpses lying on the road and bodies inside buildings. All the scorched cadavers nearby rise and rush at us. The smiling faces we had just slain also stood up, lousily folding and snapping their bodies. This thing is no urban plague. I placed a hand on my forehead. A purple humanoid form watches us from afar. Purple certainly is an uppity color. Vespa, does the human thunderbolt appear to be frozen in place right now? Vespa carefully squinted at it. It's moving. It's not stationary. The human thunderbolt is moving from place to place to send electric currents controlling the corpse with the stimuli. The plan is the same. I stop it in the tracks, you cut it down. How much time will you need until then? 10 minutes. Vespa nodded. Let me ask you back. How much time will it take for you to do it? A second is all I ask. That's dependable. Vespa will handle the smiling faces in front of us. Meanwhile, the living, swarming corpses appear to be regular citizens. Ezra should be able to fend them off on her own. Ezra, protect me, but don't get yourself killed doing it. Got it. You can count on me, Detective. This is an interesting version of the puppeteer. Wait, hold on. It is a purple guy. Listen, I can't stop making the comparisons right now, okay? It's so funny. It is the man behind the slaughter. Chapter 33. Neurosis. Neurosis. A spear of stress, harmful radiation, a prison that constricts oneself at the same time. A symptom that exacerbates the more one hurts others. The temperamental cerebral stimuli and irritation are given the physical form of electricity. When that electricity flows through the body, it burns with an uncontrollable wrath. It's not quite explosive. It's sharp, rather. From light proddings to thrusts that create cavities in the mind. Neurosis flows through nearby conductors. It changes the atmosphere. Oh, I lost myself. I looked away for one. Changes the atmosphere of one's surroundings. One's hysteria is poured on others. It gives off a false impression that it will make things better. However, it only causes one's own mind to smolder and invoke impatience. All while burning others more severely. This property must be understood. An endless release of irritation and anger. megalomania and victim mentality. It actively moves around, gnawing at those nearby and steering them, and it moves fast. Can you send me a DM of the music right now and you'll give me an image of a wet cat? Yeah, sure. This is called Balcony, from Cave Story. Hold up. Here. I'll just put this in the, new video drops. So yeah, this is a Siva Gunner rip, and if you don't know, yeah, this is a Siva Gunner rip. If you know Siva Gunner, then you know that he does high quality rips. Your polar bear in DMs, but it's already posted. There you go. Live for the music. Let's see. 500 corpses are coming out. 500 cigarettes. 500 corpses are coming at us. They're the mere remains of the deceased. Electric stimuli injected into their brains by the human thunderbolt command them to move in a purely mechanical sense. The speed of light. The human thunderbolt drifts between those 500 people at this greatest possible velocity. They're in essence biological machines that feel no pain or fear. They can't be considered subordinate entities of the distortion either. We have to capture the moment when it jumps from a scorched body to another. The easiest method would be to let out a pale blue breath, the smoke of death and cessation. But this should be the absolute last resort. A violet breath for a violet being. It's standard methodology to me. How can I bind? How much can I bind? How much with the heavy guilt given to me? The violet memory that strangles my heart and drags my mind to the bottom. This memory must be dredged up. I led my co-workers to death that day. The human being named Moses participated in the smoke war as captain of Yugioh. Completing the mission was all I had to do. There was no room for interpretation or mercy in the process. To obey Dia's orders, to obey for her dream. I've stained my hands with so much blood in this life. Even the blood of those whom I worked with. What I am bearing are the burdens of others, not mine. The smoking pipe isn't mine. It belongs to them. I hold the pipe and draw in smoke. I close my eyes as I draw in smoke. As I close my eyes, they appear. I have to inhale their memories and agony. I need to find the violet memory among the faint yet intense mass. Memories akin to dark thorns. The eyes and gestures that grudge me. My sense of guilt. My guilt manifests as neurosis. I dislike noise. I dislike talkative people. This sound reminds me of the voices that resent me. This sound reminds me of the battery of the war, and it makes my mind bleed. The small grievances and scornful remarks, exchanges of words are full of ire. The barbed words I've carelessly spouted. The days in my life when I pushed someone and drove someone to tears. Had I been kinder, had I been more understanding. I didn't look after my subordinates. My eyes were fixed on Dias. Everything that happened in the process were trivial matters to me. In the city where there is no good or evil, I made a distinction. What Dias wished for, and what she does not. That was the only criterion which severs the good from the bad. So what made me so desperate? I can hear the cries and screams of my subordinates. I ignored them and went on my way. I shouldn't have turned around that time. Once I looked back, the path of blood I've been walking was so candidly visible. I couldn't help but cry. Why did I change my mind at the last moment? Why did a sense of altruism for my colleagues bloom suddenly? I want to give salvation to them, to those who drift in my head. Each time I resolve a case of the distortion, their screams go silent one by one. But the quiet doesn't last long. Why did I abandon them? Why did I give them that heartless order, lacking even a speck of what could be thought of as a heart, and then come trying to save them? Why did I push them into the maw of hell? I have been resolving distortions because I couldn't bear to hear those voices blaming me. This is like a narcotic that I cannot quit. As soon as I stop taking the drug that's resolving distortions, the pain begins constricting around my head again. This is not voluntary service or charity work. It's only a drug I take to ease my guilt. And yet I have the audacity to call myself detective and ask for payment. The requests and clients I declined, all of this becomes cumbersome and hurtful. Becomes a cumbersome and hurtful chain that stifles my heart once again. This is the chain I wanted to find. I tighten my grip around my mind. The chain can be brought out if I choke my heart until blood and pus are utterly wrung out of it. This heavy contrition of mine, the grudges of 2,142 people I brought to death. However fast and sharp the neurosis of the human thunderbolt may be, it won't be greater than the weight and anguish of the chains I feel deep in my heart. I face the reality that everything I believe to be right was simply a childish attempt at self-satisfaction to cut out my neurosis. Humiliation and self-loathing, vexation and anger for myself. I squeeze out all of it. I exhaled a violet breath. The smoking pipe turned into a hair-thin and pointed needle. A strand of thread which is held on the eye of the needle links to my chest, as though the thread were reeled from my heart. This is not just a thread. It's a chain. A shackle. We have 30 seconds. Ezra and Vesper are straining every nerve to hold back the horde of burnt corpses. An abundance of bits and pieces of charred bodies are at my feet. One of those bits crawls toward me with the last traces of electrical stimuli remaining in it. I stab the heavy and sharp needle into the arm of the crawling corpse. In an instant, my violet neurosis flowed through all the corpses at the speed of light. Every corpse stopped dead at once. The chain moved from body to body and tied them together. The longer the thread becomes, the more my heart bleeds. The sensation of barbed wire squeezing and crushing my brain. I have to withstand it. Not even a second has passed, but so much physical and mental pain is being inflicted on my body that could end my life. The powerful buzzing of a bee. The yellow harpoon soared through the air and pierced the human thunderbolt's chest as it paused between corpses. It is done, Dr. Moses. The corpses went limp, and collapsed to the ground. Detective, are you okay? Ezra asked, having suffered many injuries herself. I nodded in response. The work is not done yet. The elongated chains of the mind now have to be retracted where they came, brooding over the memories in agony. I slowly pull the chains back into my heart. Ezra is looking at me with worrisome eyes. But it can't be helped. No one can help me with this. I have to do this on my own. This is a lonely, heart-wrenching task. Just as I pulled the final link of the chain into my chest, I fell unconscious. Have you come to your senses yet? A low, grumpy voice woke me up. Guess I didn't die. Did you retrieve the distortion? Yes, Detective. We put it in the van. I see. Thanks for the hard work, both of you. Dr. Moses, we encountered a problem. What is it? Well, the car stopped working. It might be because of the electricity, Ezra said in a worrisome tone. We can contact Han Hee-jun and call Ujat over. They'll repair the vehicle for us. My head still feels hazy from using the violet thread and needle. I'm honestly unsure of where I am and what time it is. Still lying on the ground, I picked up a smoking pipe and drew in a breath. Detective, it's nighttime. What hour is it now? It's 3:26 a.m. And our location? Somewhere in the back streets, I think. I placed a hand on my head and puffed out smoke. The night in the back streets. It's the time of sweepers.
Sweep! Looks like it's sweeping time! Oh, baby!
I've been waiting to get to this chapter. I fucking love the idea of the sweepers. Oh, it's just like the freaking... It's like the art. Hello, combat dummy. You came just in time for the night of the Backstreets. Oh, hold up. Agua. Agua. The sweepers come in 3 waves. 3 waves are all we have to endure. Ezra, Vespa, think you can make it through? I actually used up all my strength fighting the human thunderbolt before. Ezra looked at me with an awkward smile. I reluctantly turned my gaze to Vespa. Dr. Moses, you're currently incapable of combat. And it seems Miss Ezra can barely protect herself. So the conclusion? Impossible. We'd be able to survive 2 waves, I suppose. Uria's workshop would have been a perfect hiding spot, but she's not up when we need it. I put my smoking pipe in my mouth. Gross noises can be heard from a distance. The sounds of the cleaners of the streets. Fierce fights and contemptible murders are a commonplace occurrence in the back streets. All of it is wiped clean by morning. Thanks to them. The sweepers clean the back streets, which means it's safe outside the back streets. I tapped my prosthetic arm. Han Hee-jun. The prosthetic arm flashed for a second. Working hard day and night, aren't you, Doctor? Sorry to disturb your sound sleep. Examining your location, you're in the back streets at this time of night. I'll get to the point. Ujat, can you call them here? If it's to stop the sweepers, I doubt they'll be of any help by the time they arrive. Then let me ask something about this fallen nest. Is the border between the back streets and the nest area still up? I'm sure a war veteran such as yourself knows better than I do. What's the shortest route? 5 kilometers to the west as the crow flies. End the call. The way out of this situation is simple. We've got to get into the nest. A ruined nest is still a nest. Sweepers only clean the back streets. We'll travel in a straight line, break any walls in the way, and cut down any nuisance. What about the car? Vespa asked in a low tone. We'll leave it here until the night passes. It will be fine as long as we aren't in the van. Won't they treat distortions as humans? Don't ask me what they think. There's no other option. Even if we were to lose 2 distortions we've retrieved, saving our lives comes first. We don't have time, Ezra. Ezra takes out her gauntlets and hammer, preparing to make way. When it comes to destruction for survival, she should be better suited for the job than Vespa. Junior, give the detective a lift, Esper yelled. Vespa put me under the arm. As unpleasant as it is, I suppose it's for the best. Here we go. Detective and Junior. Vespa drew his sword with his other arm. To the west, a brick wall stands in the way. We'll breach this first. Ezra put her fist through the wall, crumbled with ease. And there's a 2-story house standing right in front of it. Just as she tries to break this wall, Vespa stops her. Residential areas must be destroyed during night in the back streets. A taboo. I hadn't thought of the residential area. All of our problems could be solved if we again enter this house, but we need permission from the owner of the home first. It's not just a taboo in a nest, it's a taboo of the city. That means violating it will simply end with a taboo hunter chasing us. The night in the back streets is a completely lawless hour. There is one exception among this, which remains safe. The residential area. An inviolable territory. The head of the city doesn't allow the sanctuary to collapse, and no one will open the door for us. Detective, what should we do? We shan't dare commit a taboo that not even the fingers can violate. I can hear 3 or 4 people sobbing inside the house. A group of strangers breaking walls and standing before their home would surely be a terrifying sight for them. The sound grew closer, and Sweeper showed up from the mist. Thoughts on Zhao and Lowell making out? You know what? I love Zhao. She's my favorite Ruina character. My fave. My girl. I love her. But as for them making out, I believe that they're... Weren't they married? Let's see. The sweepers in the corners of the alleys are like water overflowing over a toy village. They go anywhere a path is open. They're persistent and resilient. They aren't afraid to die. Sharkigo, another 5 memberships. Oh my goodness. I did look different yesterday. I was crunchy. But Dabnud, Wendigo, Kuniyuo, and Notherway, and Puppet 443. Congratulations and thank you, Sharkigo. I appreciate the money that you send me every dang weekend. They swarm to their target and cling to them until they've been cleaned off the street. If a sweeper has died, they clean that corpse as well and continue on. Their orange hooks inject whoever they stab with a strange fuel. That mysterious fuel liquefies the victim. The melted remains are then recycled into fuel. Clumps of liquid. That's what the sweepers are. Who knows what goes on in their minds? It's frankly strange that the head consider those beings to be humans. I'm not sure if they're even capable of thinking normally. Detective, I'll get ready for battle. Put me down, please. Vespa set me on the ground. I bit my smoking pipe. The yard of a residence. Sweepers squeezed through the destroyed wall. While this wasn't our intention, we put ourselves in an advantageous spot for fending off multiple foes. Vespa cuts down the sweepers, creeping on us one by one. Ezra uses her fists and hammer. Her accelerated fist strikes a sweeper in the head, and liquid spouts from the smashed noggin. The same liquid spills from a torso of a sweeper cut in half by Vespa, and the liquid is absorbed into the bodies of the sweepers that follow, simply by stepping on the pool of the liquid. 2, 5, 10, 23. Vespa's blade is losing its edge, and Ezra's fists are getting slower. The sweepers must be sliced into 2 or blown up in a single hit. They'll recover from wounds left by dull swords and lethargic fists by absorbing liquid from the carcasses of their fallen brethren. I can only trust those 2 to handle this. Their first wave has died down. The time is 3:40. The second wave will strike in about 10 minutes. We shouldn't stay here. We need to continue on the west. However, we can't even make 100 meters. I know this won't work, but I have to give it a shot anyway. I knocked on the door of a residence. My name is Moses, and I'm a grade 5 fixer from 7 Association. Could you please open this door? We just need a place to rest for a while. There's 3 of us, including myself. The sound of a person weeping came from inside. We'll just take shelter until morning. We could pay you too, Ezra yelled urgently. We want to live. Please leave us alone. Detective, I guess it's not going to work, Ezra said in a discouraged tone. They're too frightened to be reasoned with. Thus we have no choice but to start running again. What will you do now? We have to move to the west. Vespa picked me up again and ran westward, with Ezra following right behind. Let's jump over or go around the obstacles we encounter from now on. We can't afford to check if every wall in front of us is part of the residential and this thick mist. This is going to take more time. Vespa and Ezra may be fast, but traveling 5 kilometers in 10 minutes will be a difficult task in its current state. We crossed the walls and I ran through narrow passages in the back streets. This Vespa kid is insanely quick, I must say. He sprints like a beast while searching for open paths. Ezra isn't falling behind either. 3:47. 3 minutes remain. Or not. Time is up. Ezra! Vespa! Sweepers come in swarms from both ends of the long alleyway. I tapped the arm. Han Hee-jun! Yes, Doctor. Does this arm have any combat functionalities? No. Then what was your boastful statement about being one of a kind and expensive about? Sharkigo, another 5 gifties. Thank you. I love you. I love you. Impossible 2, Ventus Mueller, Gaijin, Flare 889, and Protege. That brings a total up to 130. How... Thank you. Holy moly. Honestly, like, Sharkigo gives me Christmas gifts like every fucking month, every weekend of the month. Bro. Zhao just said, shoot him again. Another 5 gifties. Fishcake, Contron, Emiliko, Hidden Play, and Hassan Borazan. Thank you for thank you. I appreciate it. Got that holly jolly spirit. Because there really is no prosthetic arm like it. It's equipped with technology that allows you to locate you wherever you are. Not to mention its durability. I hung up. Swarms of sweepers throng Ezra and Vespa, who are slowly being pushed back. It's like stopping a leaking dam with just a palm. The water is bound to spill sooner or later. To face the sweepers right after dealing with the human Thunderbolt's army of corpses. Talk about a streak of misfortune. Detective, I'll try to keep them at bay. I won't let any of them reach you. Right now, I don't have the strength to take on a single sweeper. Ezra and Vespa will survive somehow. I'm completely dead weight this time. I place my smoking pipe in my mouth. Behind me is the door of a building to a residential area in the back streets. If we broke this door and went inside, we might be able to survive the night. However, breaking a taboo of the city is on a completely different level than breaking a taboo of a nest. The most one can do is delay their inevitable death. Unparalleled force will pursue us. Death comes unto one someday. Perhaps the reason I live is to settle what I started until that moment comes. That's what makes me want to stay alive. I let out a red breath. Dr. Moses, don't get any ideas. A yellow harpoon knocked the smoking pipe out of my hand. I told you that I can stop the first 2 waves. Vespa frowned at me, his body covered in injuries. I picked up my pipe and knocked on the door behind me. This is the most I can do while that 2 act as human shields. I'm Moses, a grade 5 fixer from 7 Association. If you let us take shelter here for a short while, I'll give you a generous compensation. No response again. That means either no one is in this house or they're rejecting us. The old steel door opened with a metallic creak. Ezra, Vespa, get in here right now, I shouted at the 2. Okay, detective. Ezra and Vespa slowly retreated through the door as they took down the sweepers in front of them. After they entered through the steel door, I quickly shut it. We're safe for now. What a relief. Thank you for your kindness. Moses from 7 Association, was it? I'd like to make a deal. A golden insignia. This is a symbol that distinguishes the fingers. These dark red coats. They're the thumb. I turned to Vespa immediately, and I shook my head. Whatever story that kid has, this is most definitely not the time. Around 20 people in red coats are looking at us. Let me introduce myself. I am Isabel, a capo of the thumb. She ground her cigar into an ashtray and extended her arm for a handshake. I am a grade 5 fixer. I have to submit to the authority of a capo. I lowered my head and grasped her hand without making eye contact. Welcome, Call Me Banana. Strange things have been occurring in this nest, as you can tell. We couldn't acquire any proper info because of all this fog. Yet, now I meet a fixer from the 7 Association. I'm such a lucky gal. Isabel handed me a glass of liquor. I poured the drink down my throat. I've been parched for a while. What is my favorite project, man? Honestly, it's the first one. Mantesia. It's the best one. What are the grades of the friends next to you? This child here is Ezra, a grade 3 fixer from 7 Association. And I'd rather not undisclose Vespa's real name and grade. Introducing him as a grade 3 like Ezra should be appropriate. Grade 1 fixer, Vespa, no affiliation. Vespa uttered, running his hand through its blood-soaked hair. I placed a hand on my forehead. A grade 1 fixer is the same class as a capo. A grade 1 fixer? You wouldn't be lying by any chance. Vespa put his hand inside the coat pocket of his coat. The 20 thumb goons immediately pointing their matchlock rifles at us in unison. Isabel made a gesture to halt them. Then Vespa took out his fixer license and tossed it in front of her. It's without a doubt a legitimate fixer license issued by the Hana Association. It's a pleasure to greet such a valuable guest. Please feel free to rest up here for a while. Let's talk more when the sun comes up. As soon as she stopped speaking, the goons draw their guns. They're quick to change their attitude when one discloses their grade. That's what the Thumb is. A gang of mobsters obsessed with class and authority. Provide them with blankets and pillows, and show them the room they will rest. A couple of syndicate members guided us. This is a small house with a floor space of 70 square meters. There's no way the Thumb would use this kind of residence as a base of operation. The some soldados stopped at the door and turned around to give Vespa a courteous nod. That's a gesture asking permission from a superior to speak. Vespa returned a nod apathetically. The room is a bit messy now, so we'll clean it up for you. The syndicate members opened the door. Ezra frowned when she saw what was in the room. 3 bodies of varying size were on the floor. They didn't even fire the guns. They merely used the buttstocks to snuff them out. They occupied a backstreet's residence before the night came. The Thumb can get away with it. Vespa put his hand on the handle of the sword. I glared at Vespa, shaking my head. Vespa glared back at me with sharp eyes. And then, he took his hand off the blade. So the Thumb makes their appearance. Jesus Christ. Okay. So this kind of gives me like... a better perspective on the city as a whole and the Thumb. Cause like, I didn't exactly know, like, the Thumbs... Like, I know that they were a finger, and I knew, like, the guys from Arena, they're fucking powerful. But I didn't know that they were, like... What's it called? Like, Callow was just one of many capo. What do you think, like, the big mob boss is? It isn't Callow, is it? Because if that were the case, then the mob, like, the boss of the Thumb has to be, like, color level. Let's see. I'd say probably now's a good time. I haven't really eaten lunch yet, and we've done about 5 chapters. Kind of longer ones too. Let's see. Yeah, 5 chapters is a good place. 5 chapters is a good place. Thank you all for coming in and reading along with me. I appreciate all of you. Capo de Capo is the leader. Alright, that makes sense. I will catch y'all next weekend on Friday to continue on the Lobotomy Corporation playthrough. We need to beat Hod's core suppression. So that'll be that will be a very, very fun stream. Sorry if you just joined in. I am not the best streamer ever, Weffy. I am, like, low on the totem pole. Very, very low. But I can't wait to see y'all till then.